Good morning, fam. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you all are well and keeping safe. It is currently 7 a.m. on my side, right? 7:21 a.m. on my side. And I will find myself breaking down price for the New York session. You want to be like, dude, you crazy, bro. You crazy. How could you find yourself doing that? Well, this is just simply what I am finding myself doing in the mornings, right? And then in the afternoon session, all I'm going to do is just wait and see if price is doing what I expected price to do, because then I will just simply participate with price, and that's that, right? If price is basically going on the opposite direction, I'll just simply know that I was wrong, and you know what, I will just rectify it then. All right. So without wasting your time, you know what, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I will highly appreciate that. And let's tap into this beautiful pair called the DXY first. All right. So we can clearly see on the weekly time frame, right? If you haven't found yourself watching the Sunday online session, well, the Sunday breakdown, please go find yourself doing that, right? But we basically pointed out this area as a point of interest to where we would like to see this beautiful pair have some sort of initial pushback towards the upside from, right? And currently we can see that we are tapping within this area, which is a good sign, right? Which is a beautiful, beautiful sign. And even if I can get out a trend line from this area right over there, we have a first, second, and we can currently see that, you know what, we are finding ourselves having some sort of an actual third touch. Guys, keep in mind that this is the weekly time frame, right? This candle still needs to find itself closing, right? So just because we are traveling below the trend line does not mean that we just broke this trend line and we're going to have a further continuation move back towards the downside, right? Price can easily just leave a wick towards the upside, and then we have a further continuation move back towards the upside, right? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right. So look at this, the weekly time frame, well, the daily time frame on this beautiful pair called the DXY. We can see that, you know what, we took out a new area of liquidity right over there as well. So, you know what, it will actually be nice to see if we can have some sort of a closure above this trend line, right? And then have a further continuation move back towards the upside, as that will basically just indicate that we had a fake out on our actual daily time frame for a further continuation move back towards the upside, right? But currently we are still somewhat bearish in structure, right, when it comes down to the DXY. So one thing that I will wait for is a proper change in market structure, so that I can be for sure, like, you know what, we are finding ourselves having that pushback towards the upside, right? But currently we can still see that we are quite bearish in market. Well, yes, bearish in market structure. So a clean market structure shift will be quite nice to see happening on this beautiful pair called the DXY, something like that as well, right? Or just simply having a closure above this BOB right over there, to basically be like, you know what, we can see that shift towards the upside on this beautiful pair called the DXY. Right now, you do know that I'm using the DXY as an indicator for my Nasdaq, right? So if we can basically see price have that shift towards the upside, this will simply fuel some beautiful bearish momentum when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? So if we can maybe just go back to our daily time frame, right, and just remove the noise over here. We basically pointed out that, you know what, we do have this area which is lining up, right? Because this area is simply a region where we created a gap, and once price is going to find itself tapping within this area, you know what, there's a high possibility for us then having a shift towards the downside, simply because we are filling up the gap right over there. All right, so looking at what we have on the daily time frame, right, we can see that we are quite overly extended towards the upside, right? We need some sort of a correction, right? So over the course of the day, I would like to find myself looking for some shorts opening up on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq during the New York session. Right now, the New York session is only coming through like in the next 7 hours, right? 7 to 8 hours. But nonetheless, you know what? Let's look at this. Check this out. If you are basically going to look at what found itself happening over here, look at this candle, right? See how price basically came into the body of this candle right there, had a shift to the upside. See how price came into the body of this candle, then had a shift to the upside. There we failed to find ourselves doing that, which is perfectly fine, right? Over here, can you see how price came into the body of this candle? Had a shift to the upside. There you can see it happen once again. There you can see it happen once again. There you can see it happen once again as well, right? So with us basically being at this area where we are currently, we can simply see that, you know what, we are somewhat traveling still above the body of this candle right over there, right? To me, that is like some sort of an actual signal, right? To me, that is somewhat of a signal. So looking at the H4 time frame right over here, we can simply see that, you know what, we do have the breaker, which we discussed as well, right? And we can see that price is now finding itself having that you know what, tap within this area. Okay, so with us basically having the tap within this area, I would like to see some shorts finding itself opening up. But can we currently say that, you know what, that is valid? No, we cannot, right? Simply because we are still somewhat bullish in market structure. However, we can see that we did find ourselves having a beautiful correction impulse. What comes next after an actual impulse? A correction, right? A shift back towards the downside. So that will basically be an area to where I would like, or that will be a probability which I would like to see opening up on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, right? We can also see that we did find ourselves creating a beautiful volume imbalance right over there as well, right? So if we can see price have a closure below this area right over there, you know what, there's a high possibility that we are bearish in structure on our high, on our lower time frame, which will basically be our 1 hourly H2 time frame, right? And then we can potentially just see that retest for a further continuation move back towards the downside, right? So that is basically what I have my eye out on when it comes down to this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq. I won't find myself necessarily wanting to monitor price on the 1 hourly time frame to wait for some sort of a change in structure, right? However, I will just find myself monitoring my actual liquidity areas, right? Areas where we have some nice clean liquidity. Because keep in mind that the London session will basically set up the New York session, right? So if we are going to find ourselves creating some equal highs, maybe the price will find itself taking that out during the New York session, and then have that actual opposite direction opening up, right? Or if price is going to find itself creating some relatively equal lows, price will then find itself having that shift back towards the downside to basically, you know what, take out those relatively equal lows, which price will then find itself opening up, right? So me, Diego, I'm gonna find myself prepping for some beautiful shorts on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq, as we are finding ourselves being inside a premium area, right? Price is quite expensive at where we are currently, right? But once again, also take into consideration if the DXY is going to find itself having a further continuation move back towards the downside, right? Maybe if I can go on the daily time frame, a further potential shove back towards the downside, and maybe want to find itself coming for this low, right? Yo, my apologies. And maybe want to find itself coming for this low right over there, right? You know what? There's still a high possibility for the Nasdaq having that further continuation move back towards the upside, basically to find itself coming back into this beautiful, you know what? Fair value gap, which we find ourselves pointed out right over there, right? So then there is still a possibility for us basically having that shift to the upside and then only have that dip back towards the downside, right? But ultimately, I would like to see some shorts finding itself opening up, as we can also see that, you know what, we did find ourselves creating some relatively equal highs right over there. So what do you know, when we are finding ourselves forming some relatively equal highs or equal lows, we are expecting price to have some sort of a reaction in the opposite direction, right? And we can see that we are tapping within a point of interest as well. So me, Diego, I will definitely find myself prepping for some beautiful shorts over the course of New York. All right, and that right there is my analysis on this beautiful pair called the Nasdaq for this beautiful morning, right? Let me know, what is your bias for today? You know what, it's me, your boy D. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. I'm out.